Hi everyone, my name is Iben and welcome to another episode of the Road to Planet Zoo 2. This video isn't really going to be a speculation video, instead this is a video about the animals that I would really like to see in the next game. So let's dive into that. But before we do that, there are some ground rules I want to adhere to. This list is going to primarily focus on habitat or exhibit animals. Basically just the animals that would have worked in the first game as well. Simply because we don't really know how they would really tackle fish or birds, or if they are even going to add them anyway. So I don't really feel like putting an animal like a manatee on this list if we don't really know if it's going to be possible in the sequel or not. So for now I just want to focus on animals that I think could have been added in the first game and that I then really want to see in the second game. I'm going to make this list with the expectation that we're going to have at least 3 years of development. So the first year is the launch, the deluxe and the December DLC, and then 2 more years of DLC. I think that is conservatively a positive approach to the sequel, but given the success of Planet Zoo 1, I really would be surprised if we wouldn't get at least 3 years of development. I'm not saying that Frontier has planned out everything for the next coming years, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they had already some notion of where they wanted to go with this game. Furthermore, I'm basing this list on the 7 animals plus scenery DLC format because that seems to be the format that they've stuck to in the last 2 years, and honestly in my opinion it works really well with the Planet Zoo game genre, so I hope this is what they continue to do. I'm also going to make the assumption that they're going to at least introduce a bunch of new animals in the sequel, like not fish or birds if they're adding fish and birds, but like I would assume that they would add at least a few new habitat and exhibit animals for those people who really don't care about fish or birds. So those are my ground rules. Let's take a look at my ranking for those animals that I want to add to Planet Zoo 2. So as discussed earlier, we're going to rank these 35 animals that I would personally want to see in Planet Zoo 2, and we're going to rank them by the 3 years of development that I envision for this game. So launch is the sequel itself and the first DLC and the deluxe version, and year 1 and year 2 would be 2 years of DLC development. I will start this list off strong by taking the Koali and putting it in the launch section. I really want to see Koali in the sequel. I always felt like the Americas pack had a huge missed opportunity by not including them, and honestly I really hope that's because it was one of the animals that Planet Zoo 2 is going to launch with. This is such an incredible animal in real life, it adds so much flavor to so many different kinds of exhibits, and overall it's just nice to have it in your game, so yeah, Koali goes in the launch section for me. The colobus monkey is another animal that I've really missed in the first game, but I think I can live without it for like at least a year, so I'm going to put it in year 1. I think that is enough for me. As long as it gets included into the game, I'm fine, I'm good. The crowned crane is one of those animals that I've always thought were possible in the first game, and honestly they are such an iconic zoo species that I think I'm going to put it in the launch section. It is one that I might switch to a different section in this list, but for now, I think I really just want to see it as quickly as possible. Now the Debraza monkey kinda is the same for me as the colobus monkey. I really want to see it, it's a really cool animal, but I don't think I need it at launch, and I think I'm going to put it in year 1. Duikers are a really cool kind of animal that hasn't been introduced in the first game, and I think would be really interesting to have. I, however, don't really have one specific species in mind that I would like to see right away, so I'm going to put it in year 2 rather than in launch or year 1, simply because I don't have a specific species in mind. As long as we get one, then I'm happy with it. The echidna for me was one of those animals that was part of the big group of Australian zoo animals. Animals that when you build an Australian section in your zoo, you want to include it. And I've always thought it was a shame that it wasn't included in Planet Zoo 1. I'm not entirely sure where I'm going to put it though. I think I'm going to put it in year 1, But if there are other animals that I need to switch, then this will probably be one of those that I'll switch to year 2. The elk might be a boring animal to some, but I personally love it. I've seen it in real life in zoos and in the wild, and I really like these big, huge deer that are just amazing to look at. Again, it's one of those animals that I would really love to see, but I don't think I need it at launch or in the first year of DLC. As long as I get it somewhere along the lifespan of Planet Zoo 2, then I'll be happy. So I'll put it in year 2. When it comes to penguins in Planet Zoo, I always felt like we were missing at least one more small Antarctic penguin just to be able to make a combination exhibit as many zoos have in real life. So I'm going to put the Gen 2 penguin at launch, but for me personally it doesn't really matter which specific smaller species of penguin we get, as long as we get one. That's the important part for me. Tamarins are again one of those animals that I've been wanting for such a long time. They are one of my favorite animals in real life. I really like seeing them in zoos, and again I've always felt like it was a missed opportunity to not include them in like packs like the Americas pack. So I'm going to put it at the launch section, basically just because I really love these animals in real life and I really want to see them as quickly as possible. I don't think I want to wait that long to see them in the game. I felt like I've waited long enough. The golden snub-nosed monkey is on this list, and the only reason why it is on it is because I've seen it in real life and I think it's an absolutely amazing animal. It is such a weird monkey and it just brings something completely new to the game that we haven't seen yet. It's just like this monkey species with this kind of face that you're like, what the hell is this? Yeah, it's amazing. Again, it's not an animal that I want to see at launch, but if we would get this in year 1, I would be really happy. The guinea fowl is an animal that I consider as one of those birds that would be possible in the base game, and it always felt weird to me that we didn't get it in the first game. Now, as much as I like it and as much as I think it should be included in the sequel, I don't think I need it in day 1, and I don't think I need it in the first year. I'll put this in year 2. From guinea fowl to guinea pig, this might be an animal that most people would say, why is this included? Well, I personally think that there were a few domestic species that had to be included but weren't included, and guinea pigs for me are like the obvious ones. If you make a petting zoo section in your zoo, then a guinea pig fits in right at home. It is one of those animals that I think Planet Zoo could have added, and it was always a shame that they didn't. The Barnyard Animal Pack added a bunch of animals that I'm really fond of. I'm not going to say that every species in itself was great, but I felt like at least one of them could be switched for a guinea pig or a rabbit, as you can see later down the line. I think I'm going to put it in year 2. I don't think I need it at launch, but it would be really cool to see them one day. Yet another monkey. Howler monkeys are really cool, and when Planet Zoo introduced the howling system for the wolves, I really thought that howler monkeys would make an appearance in the game one day. Unfortunately, this never happened, but still I would love to see it one day. I think I'm going to put it in year 2, not because I don't like the animal, but because there are other animals that I want to have earlier than this one. So still a very solid addition, but year 2 for me. The kudu is of the same variety. It's an animal that I thought was going to be added to the game at one point, but it never really did. I think I'm going to add it in year 2, simply because I think it's an interesting animal, but I don't mind waiting for it for a little bit more. The first exhibit animal on our list, the leafcutter ant, is a really interesting animal to see in zoos. I don't really know how you could add them to an exhibit unless you make some kind of modular exhibit system, but frankly it's too cool of an animal not to include into this game, so I'm going to put it in the year 1. This is one of those exhibit animals that kind of changes up how exhibits work, and I understand that's not something that you probably can get at launch. launch. But if this is something that they introduce somewhere along the first year, then I would be really, really happy. The musk ox for me is a launch game animal, probably a deluxe edition animal, but I really, really like them. I've seen them at Paradisa and they are one of my favorite animals. They're just so cool. They radiate something that I just can't put into words, and I've been waiting for this animal for such a long time. So yeah, this is just a personal bias to me, but I really want to see a musk ox as quickly as possible as a deluxe animal, or maybe just like one of the animals in the first DLC. For me, I think that would work perfectly well for like a December DLC when you have a lot of cold weather animals. Yeah, musk ox for me, and it's for launch for sure. Another exhibit animal that I really want to see is naked mole rats. This is probably the only mammal that I really want to see in an exhibit, because I don't think there's another way to do it. I don't think you can do like this tubing system in habitat, so I think this is one of those animals that an exhibit really, really works well for. I think I'm going to put it in year 1. And I might actually switch the leafcutter ant to year 2 then, because I do think I want to have naked mole rat before I want leafcutter ants. It's a really cool animal. I've seen it in a few zoos, and I think it's a really cool thing to introduce to a zoo. The pelican was one of those animals that we always thought was going to be included in the first game, especially after the swan. And it kind of felt weird that we never got it. I'm going to put this in the launch section simply because pelicans are such an iconic animal for zoos, and I've always found it very weird that they weren't included in the first game. Another domestic species that I honestly really missed in the first game is the pot-bellied pig. It is one of those animals that I've seen in plenty of zoos and in petting zoos, and I always found it weird that it wasn't in the first game, especially in the Barnyard Animal Pack, so I'm going to put it in year 2. Not because I think it isn't a good animal, but just because domestic animals aren't that high of a priority for me, but I still want to see it at least in like the second year of DLC. I don't think I want to wait another 6 years before we finally get another domestic species. The same goes for the rabbit, honestly. I want to see it. I think it's a great animal to add, and a lot of petting zoos have them. But again, it's not something that I want to have right away. So I'm going to put it in year 2. In the same vein as the musk ox, I think the sea otter would work really well as one of the December DLC animals. And I really like sea otters. I really think it's a big shame that they aren't in Planet Zoo 1, and I really miss them in the Zoo of Antwerp. I saw them when I was younger, and ever since they've been gone, I really miss them. So I'm going to put them in the launch section of this ranking. I think it's an important animal. It's really cool to see in real life, and it would work really well in the December DLC. Shoebills are some of the coolest animals that I've ever seen in real life. They are absolutely terrifying, and I want to see them in Planet Zoo 2. I don't think I want to wait a long time for them, so I'm going to put them in year 1. This is one of those animals that I really, really want to see, and there's just a few animals that I want more than this one, but man, this is a really cool animal, and I really hope we'll get them as soon as possible. The spider monkey is another animal that I don't really know if I want a very specific species of spider monkey. I just want a species of spider monkey. I think I'm going to put it in year 1 though, because I think it's a little bit more interesting than the howler monkeys, but I don't really need it at launch. The squirrel monkey is honestly a mystery to me. How has this not been added to Planet Zoo 1? I understand that we got the capuchin, but the squirrel monkey is so much more iconic to zoos that I really never understood that this wasn't part of the game. I'm going to put this in the launch section. I really don't want to wait any longer. I really want to see squirrel monkeys as quickly as possible. The tree kangaroo for me honestly is a bit difficult. I want to put them in the launch section, but I think I'd be willing to wait for at least the first year of DLC, but it's another animal that I would really love to see in Planet Zoo 2. I think it's one of those more iconic zoo animals that we've been really missing, and it was very high on a lot of people's lists. So year 1 for me, but if I had more room, then I would probably go and put it in the launch section. The tree porcupine is another really cool animal that I've seen in quite a few zoos so far, and whilst I don't think it's an absolute priority, it's a really interesting climbing animal. It's an animal that's different than the other climbing animals that we have in this game, and I think it would be interesting to add it to the sequel. I don't think I need it at launch, and I also don't really think I need it in the first year of DLC, but it would work well in the first December DLC if they want to do a cold themed December DLC again. I'm going to put it in year 2, but I wouldn't be unhappy if we got it earlier than that. The only reason that the two-toed sloth is in this ranking is simply because I really genuinely hope that Frontier is able to rework the climbing and the needs system in this game to make these habitat animals. I really don't want to see a sloth in an exhibit again. I really don't think it works. So I really want to see this animal in Planet Zoo 2 in an habitat that I can build myself. I'm going to put it in year 1 because I don't think I need it at launch, but I don't think I want to wait that long again before we get another opportunity to see a sloth in these games. The Visayan warty pig is a really cool animal that I've seen in plenty of zoos. I don't think I need to have it right away, but I think it's a cool animal that I want to see sooner rather than later. So I think I'm going to put it in the year 1 section because as much as I don't need it at launch, I think it would be an interesting animal to add in the first year of DLC. The walrus is one of those animals that I really want to see at launch. I would be okay if it's the animal in a December DLC, but honestly, I really hope that they are in the base game of the sequel. Walrus are so freaking cool. I absolutely love them in real life, and I really don't want to wait too long to get them in a sequel of Planet Zoo. So please, Frontier, if you're going to include them as quickly as possible. These animals are so freaking amazing. The yak is another animal that I hoped that we were going to get in the first game, but the musk ox for me was a bit higher on my list. So if we get the musk ox, I think I can put this one in year 2. It's still a very interesting animal, and it's one of those more classic zoo animals that I've missed personally. But again, I can wait a little bit before we get it into the sequel. Now, I know that a lot of people really wanted to have a cobra in Planet Zoo, but honestly, I never really cared that much for cobras. What I wanted to see was a chameleon. I'm putting it in the launch section. I feel like we've been waiting long enough, and as long as we get any kind of chameleon, then I'm really happy. Again, never really felt it for the cobra, but the chameleon for me, that's one of those animals that I really wanted to see as quickly as possible. So I'm going to put it in the launch section. I think it deserves to be there. The banded mongoose kind of represents any kind of mongoose. I just want to have an alternative to meerkat. I think I'm going to put it in the year 1 section, because as long as we get meerkat in the base game, then I think I can go and live without it for a while. I just want to have something different than a meerkat in my game from time to time, so I think that's nice to have, and the banded mongoose is a really cool species to add. The bamboo lemur for me represents basically any kind of non-standard lemur. I really like the ruffed lemurs and the ring-tailed lemur, but I really want this game to have at least one lemur species that isn't your traditional lemur species. I'm going to put this in the launch section, basically because I think that would be a really interesting deluxe animal to add to the sequel. The Chinese alligator lizard is an odd one on this list, but honestly, I just like these animals. I've seen them in quite a few zoos. I think they're really interesting to see, and I'm going to add them to the... I think I'm going to add them to the year 1 section. I really like these animals. I feel like this is a very interesting exhibit animal you can add to the game. And that leaves us with the agouti. I just want to have a goodie. I don't really care that much about the specific species, but I think it's an interesting animal to add to the game, and I'm going to add this to the list. For me, I think it's more of a year 2 animal than anything else, but I think it's really interesting, and I think it works within the Planet Zoo setup. So this is a ranking of the 35 animals that I would really love to see in the sequel. Let me know what you think about these animals. Are there animals on this list that you would really love to see as well? Are there animals on this list that I have missed? Just let me know in the comments. I can't wait to read it. Thank you so much for watching. Do whatever you want to do, like, comment and subscribe, and see you in the next video of The Road to Planet Zoo 2.